Beyond Beauty, the Professional Beauty Association's podcast, where we take a deeper look inside the minds and hearts of the incredible people in the professional beauty industry. I'm your host, Leslie Perry. With me today, Cole Thompson, originally from Manchester, England. You've been active in the hair industry since 2000. You are the International Creative Director for Elevation H, which I imagine we'll talk a bit about. You are the youngest creative director at Vidal Sassoon. And of course, I met you through Hanzo, because you are also an artistic team member with Hanzo. So thank you so much for being here with us. So excited to have you as a guest.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Leslie, thank you for taking time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. And any way we can be involved with you guys, I'm always super excited about it.
Well, first of all, so you've been involved in beauty since 2000, which if we do the math is a couple years, just a few years.
Yeah.
Where did you get your start? Like, how did you decide that this was the industry for you, that you wanted to be in this arena?
I mean, that's a really good question, to be honest. It certainly was not anything that I dreamt of doing or thought of doing. I wasn't kind of cutting my friend's hair or anything like that in the kitchen. That happened once and it went terribly wrong. So
you never did it again.
Never did it again. And funny story, that the guy who I messed his hair up, we were probably about 10. To this day, he will never let me cut his hair, no matter what. Never again. So yeah,
you haven't been able to live it down.
Never. No, I gave him like a bald. I don't even know what happened, but I gave him a bald spot back here, and now he's bald. So I guess you can't.
No, he doesn't need a haircut anyway.
That's it. But yeah, it wasn't really an industry that I knew a great deal about. I definitely fell into it by chance. My parents were a little bit worried about me when I was younger in terms of what am I going to do for a living. I wanted to be a soccer player, but that didn't really work out because I'm not really that good. So that wasn't going to work. And I just needed a job. And in England, you graduate high school at 16. So when you graduate high school, you have the decision to go on to like further education, which would be like college and university, or you can get into like a trade school. So that for me was ended up being a hairstylist. And one of my friends kind of recommended it to me. He was like, you should maybe try it out. I think you could be good at it. And I didn't want to work outdoors. So very, very like lucky how I got into it. And I love it. I've been doing it a long time now.
What made you, like, if you picked trade school, what about the hair, the beauty side of it, thought this is the right trade? Because there's a lot of other trades that maybe could have been appealing to you at the time.
Well, I suppose to because it's
be honest.
Okay, I got to tell you a story then. So what ended up happening when I have an identical twin brother who runs our company with us. He's in the UK. I'm in America, and we both signed up to do a college course. And I'm not really that great in like being in the classroom, and I find it hard to concentrate, which is kind of weird now because that's my job. Right. I mean, classrooms all the time and lecturing and teaching. So it's kind of wild that really it's definitely come full circle. But I lasted a couple of days on this course and I quit, and I didn't tell my parents that I'd quit. And after about a week of being home, my mum came home and she just asked the very simple question, why aren't you at school today? And I told her that I'd quit. And I'm giving you the very, very polite PG version of this story. And she said, excuse me. And I said, oh, I didn't like it. I don't really want to do that anymore. And I come from a really like hardworking, working class background. My parents are really, really hard workers. And there was no way that I was going to be able to live at my parents' house without either furthering my education to give us life or to provide money and get a job for the family and help with groceries. So my mum picked up the local newspaper, because back then, this is pre-internet. That's how you found a job, really, was in the local newspaper. And I remember she threw it at me and she said, there's a job section, find a job right now. And in a panic, I opened it up and I just called the first number that I saw, and it was for a hair salon. And they were looking for like apprentices, basically. And the guy answered. And back then, especially in the town I grew up in, there just wasn't really a great deal of like young guys wanting to get into the industry. And the gentleman that answered, he asked me one question. He said, what soccer team or football team do you support? I said Manchester United. He said, you start tomorrow. And that's it. That's the story.
And then you ended up loving it, and he fast forward 20 years, and
Yeah.
that's amazing.
It's the greatest industry and just job ever. I mean, there's a couple of clients and situations that make it feel more like work, but it's never really felt like work. And I remember from the second that I walked in, it was a beautiful environment. The energy was fantastic. People were smiling. People looked great. There was music on. People were drinking cappuccinos. Again, kind of crazy, but back then you could still smoke in salons.
Smoke in this.
So they've got like highlights, right?
Yes.
And, which is very and it just was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I thought, this is it for me. I can tell that I'm going to fit in really well here. And I just fell in love with it.
Amazing. And where did the idea, so Elevation H, this is an education-based company to help younger professionals and salon owners provide education to their teams. But you said education wasn't your thing, but now education is all your thing. So what made you make that leap after being in the industry for some time to develop Elevation H and be a part of that?
Sure. How I got into like full-time education is I'd always been salon-based pretty much all of my career. And when I moved from the UK to the US in 2012, I was trying to get a license in Massachusetts. And the company I was working for had a school in California. So during the time I was waiting to get my license, I'd go and teach classes in the school. And I just fell in love with education and answering questions. And I felt that I really felt that I kind of didn't really know exactly what I was doing until I had to start to teach it. And you had to start to really think, well, why am I doing certain things? And I just became obsessed by it. So then flash forward maybe 5-6 years on from that, I was working with salon owners and school owners and individuals, and they'd ask me more questions about, how do I teach my team? I get really inspired working with you for a week. I want to take this back to my team. And is there any like videos we could watch, or how do I do training programs in my salon or school? And I kept hearing that question for years. So eventually me and my brother just decided to start a company that would kind of fill those gaps and answer those questions. So there's 3 areas to our company. We work with schools and like the education team. We have teacher training, and then we provide materials and resources for the students. Then we work with salons, where we help the business owner educate their team and get them confident and profitable. And then we work with individuals, whether that's in like a suite situation or even just like younger or newer to the industry.
That's fantastic. So one thing that keeps coming up for us too is professionals that maybe were in your shoes from, like 8 years ago or something, that have been working in salon and don't know what's next. What's next in my career? I've been doing this 10 years, 15 years. What do you suggest that steps people could take to figure out what a next step could be? Because it looks, you found a next step and you're, moving forward with that, full force ahead. What advice would you have for someone that says, Cole, what do I do? What do I do next?
That is really a great question. And I would, first of all, I'd say that if you are feeling like that, you're certainly not alone. I think everybody feels, whatever industry will feel like that. And I've certainly felt like that throughout my career as well. And I think if you do this for long enough, you might even get there several times, that what could be next. And there's a few ways to look at that. I think it's always looking at what could be new. So if you're working behind the chair and you're not necessarily wanting to move locations or anything like that, new services are a great option. So maybe look into doing like extensions or learning new coloring techniques that you can add to your price list, or anything like that would help. Education is always a great way to get reinvigorated and re-inspired, whether it's a cutting class, a color class, whatever that looks like. Trying different tools out is really good, trying something new and different. And then also looking to maybe whatever experience you've got, pass that on to others. So maybe start looking to get into education. The fastest, I think, easiest way to get into education is linking with brands and product lines, or whether it be, a blow drying, like hair drying company, shears, color, whatever product line you're currently working with. All of these companies will have education teams. So there are so many different avenues to that. And if you've never taught before, We have a great program that helps people to become an educator or know how to deliver content. So I'd say that's kind of it. It could be even starting a business is one option as well. We also support a lot of people who have got to the stage in their career where they want to kind of go out on their own, whether it's an individual or start a company. But there's definitely help out there, and there's always something next. You're never going to get where there's no more. So I'd say get excited about it.
I love that advice. And I love that you were honest and said you might get there a couple times in your career. It's normal. I've been there. You've been there. Like, it feels that way. And here's some things to do to move forward from that. What do you think might be missing in this industry right now?
That's great question again. What I love about the industry right now is that I feel now more than ever, education is very accessible now with online and social media, and you've got things like TikTok, and I think education is fantastic, and there's a lot of options for people out there. I think what could possibly be missing is, I think long term, because what we're doing a lot now, or what I'm seeing is we're graduating school, or people are getting into the industry, and we're wanting to kind of go 0 to 100 instantly, which
yes. Love the energy.
I love it, and everybody should be able to do that for sure. But I think what served our industry so well is kind of like the natural progression of like learning and growing. So I think what's kind of missing is that in between from like school and salon life, or really successful salon life or business life. So whether it be an apprenticeship program or finding a mentor, or kind of like, we used to call it like you taking your licks, you know what I mean? Like you kind of learn and make mistakes. But I think what's missing right now is a safe place for people to make mistakes in that in between before becoming a business owner or really successful, and just to know that that's okay. Because I feel what's missing is that, because we're going from here to here, and we might be ready, we might not, and that's a hard transition. So I hope that answers your question.
It absolutely does. And it's actually one of the initiatives that PBA is working on launching in 2023 are 4 events across the country that are really geared toward those individuals that have recently graduated. Either maybe they're 1, 2, 3 years into the industry, and now let's bring you back together for a day and focus on some of these fundamentals, not on the technical side, but on the business side, the mindset side, that side of it, professional development, goal setting, kind of help everybody reset and figure out what does it look like. Because we also see that that's the time period when people get frustrated and want to leave the industry, and we don't want them leaving the industry either.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And with the question you asked me earlier about, I suppose like what things that I kind of like about the industry, or I like teams, right? I think it's really nice to feel part of something. So when you mentioned about advice for somebody that might be wanting something new, if you're on your own somewhere, or you're working a really small team, that kind of reduces sometimes inspiration or support or sense of community. I know when I first got into the industry, the average salon was you'd have a team and there'd be like 5 people working there, 50 people working there. And you'd come through, you'd do an apprenticeship program, you'd be in a commission base, you'd get promoted. The Christmas parties would be gigantic and huge, but you felt part of this like squad and team. And I think that's kind of what helped to make our industry great, that sense of community. So wherever you get that from, I think if you are going back to that not quite feeling what's next, having a team and a group of amazing people around you is a great way, for sure.
I love that. Totally love it. And how do you stay inspired?
Me personally?
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm digging into your inner soul, Cole.
Be careful, okay? No, teams. I work with a lot of different companies who have amazing teams of, whether it be educators who work for them, salespeople, like motivational people. So I work very, very closely with the guys over at Hanzo, and I've known them now for 8-9 years, and they're all like my best friends, and we speak every single day. Sometimes about business, mostly not.
I was gonna say probably not.
Probably not. And I think just feeling part of that community, and we've got over 100 artists nationwide, and we're constantly bringing new people on, and just the ability to learn so much from so many different people from so many different backgrounds, and everyone's got amazing talent and stories, and I like to be able to tap into that. So that's where I get my inspiration from great people first and foremost, right? People that I want to be like, and then also like extremely talented people. So advice for anyone out there: work with companies, work with a company, be associated with companies that you love the people and you love the message, and then their ability as well.
Great advice. So this one's a little just more of a fun question I like to ask. Is there a decade that you can, look to as your favorite decade for the look, the hair, the clothes, the whatever?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say the 80s.
Can be the decade.
I love the 80s, mainly because shoulder pads and like high heel shoes, and I'm short and relatively
Same.
Yeah, and I'm a big Prince fan as well, so I love the music, I love the hair, I love the fashion, and it was kind of a little bit out there, a little bit. It was a little bit wild. So, and obviously, I was very young in the 80s, obviously, so I don't really
You're
remember.
barely just born.
It's just what I've seen. I've heard it was amazing. So, yeah,
Same. I didn't ever wear shoulder pads or French roll pants or.
Yeah. No, I remember it was kind of like those.
It did. It like came out and looked very boxy. It's coming back. That's the hard part. I think now it's like 80s and 90s looks coming back around, and having lived through some of those already, I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Because when you're in those times, you think it's the first time it's ever happened, and it's so
right.
And your parents probably looked at you and thought, I was doing that 20 years ago, right? And it'll be
My
the
mom
same.
did say that.
Same now, we'll see the younger ones walking around looking amazing, and they think, this has never happened before. It probably, yeah.
Oh, for sure. All right. So, do you have like a next big thing, a big goal, something you're working on that you can share with us?
Yeah, definitely. So at Elevation H, we've been working on this for about a year. I've wanted to do it for about 5 years, but we've been working on it properly for about, which is more of like a ever evolving, advancing, like online, like subscription based learning. Because we've always worked with very structured programs for schools and salons, and we've kind of finally got something for the individual learner. So again, whether you're in a salon and you don't get a lot of education, whether you've been behind the chair for a long time and you want a bit of re-inspiration, or you're in a suite type situation and you don't really get a lot of options, we're doing the monthly based learning subscription, like online university basically. And the reason that I really like the idea of that and want to do it is we're going to add a new video every single month. And we'll pull from whether it's our social or our networks, what people want to learn. So if there's a new style, a new trend, then we'll kind of focus on that, and it'll be cutting, it'll be coloring, inspiration, business. We'll have some guest artists on there as well, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're really, really excited about. Something for the individual, and something that's going to be kind of like live and breathe and grow as we grow as well.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
Getting
you.
something like that launched, I can tell it's a lot of work.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Oh my gosh, for sure. So, any advice that you have this version of Cole today, 2023 Cole, has for younger Cole, early 2000s Cole?
Definitely. Somebody asked me about this actually a couple of days, just in conversation, and so I'm glad I got a little bit of.
You had a practice round.
And I would have just told myself, like, it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. That's it. Because I think naturally as artists or in this industry, we're always the hardest on ourselves, right? Whether it's ability wise, when we're not where we kind of want to be in our careers. And one of my good friends once told me, and I have never forgotten this. He said to me, it's okay to be really happy with where you are right now and still want to go somewhere else. Just because you're really happy right now doesn't mean that's it. Now I'm done forever. I'm not going to progress. So I think always remembering that, appreciate where you are, whether you're just about to graduate beauty school, you're about to graduate beauty school. look what you did. It's incredible. A few months ago, you'd never probably even touched anyone's hair. And then a year out, you're a year out now, you're making money, you're busy. So it's going to be okay. And enjoy right now, but still have like goals and ambitions to move forward.
Fantastic. That's great advice. I love that's fantastic advice. We all need to hear it too. No matter what stage of career we're at, I think it's important that we take time to reflect too and be okay with where you are instead of, I think we do have that tendency to always be forward thinking, what's next, what's next, what's next, but really like live in the today, live in the moment.
Definitely. And I think because of more than ever, like this generation, where we're living right now, whatever your age group is, we're shown so many things all day long from all over the world, from all types of different people. And we're shown amazing things that we're on social media, whether it's food. You know, I'm eating dinner thinking, well, my dinner doesn't look as good as your dinner. Now I feel terrible about it. I thought I did a great job making this, but whatever it is. So I think it is tough to just accept and be okay and enjoy and be proud of yourself of wherever it is where you're at. And it's very hard though. Very easy. It's easier said than done, but I try.
Well, thank you. Thank you for spending some time with us. Thank you for being a part of PBA, for being a champion for PBA, and helping us out with our Beacon Student Program and other education. We just so appreciate you, the team at Elevation H, the team at Hanzo. Just, yeah, very much appreciated. So can't wait to see you in person sometime this year at one of our events coming up.
Thank you very much. I'll be at Orlando this year, and I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you for you guys for fighting the good fight always and being there for us as hairstylists and as a profession. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.